There are even more issues, with more missing letters, from the Vern Braswell murder case, whereas character letters in support of Vern Braswell mysteriously vanished from the court records for over 15 years, before they anonymously resurfaced. There were additional helpful letters that were kept from Braswell and his attorneys. These letters were clearly withheld by Amy Weirich for about 10 years.
Sheila, I love you, and I am tremendously in love with you. I will choose to remain silent, rather than scream, yell, fuss, or curse at you. This is how a letter ended that lawyers in the Braswell case didn't get a chance to see until almost 10 years after his trial ended. The removal of the Braswell character letters by an unknown person from the secured criminal court files before the case made it to the Court of Criminal Appeals wasn't the only time there were issues with helpful letters during the Braswell case. Amy Weirich withheld letters during the case for about 10 years, before attorneys representing Braswell were able to get their hands on them. During the investigation of the case, police obtained letters written by Vern Braswell and his wife Sheila to each other during their marriage. In the letters they are giving their perspectives on issues they were experiencing as a couple. The Braswell family says these letters showed that while Vern and Sheila experienced marital issues, and that they did not have a perfect marriage, Vern and Sheila utilized a very therapeutic way for resolving issues that came up, writing letters to each other about their problems as a method of conflict resolution. The Braswell family believes that Amy Weirich did not turn these letters over to Braswell's trial attorney, because Weirich didn't want the attorneys to use the letters to prove that Weirich's chronic wife-beater and premeditated murderer trial theory was a bunch of bunk. The family also says that having evidence that did not match someone typically charged with murder, but not revealing it, actually matched Amy Weirich's behavior during the course of the Braswell case and other cases such as the Nora Jackson and Andrew Thomas cases, as detailed in publications by Harvard Law School, the New York Times, and numerous local media outlets that have reported on Weirich's many instances of prosecutorial misconduct. The family claims Weirich uses a once you dehumanize a man you can justify anything you do to him strategy, and in order to dehumanize Vern, they say Weirich painted him as a ruthless and chronic wife-beater even though the Braswells only had one physical altercation early in their marriage, when Vern came home drunk one night. After that one night Vern never put his hands on another drop of alcohol, and he and Sheila dedicated a lot of their time and energy by helping other families recover from the problems associated with alcoholism and drug addiction. That one incident took place almost 9 years before Sheila died. The Braswell character letters which mysteriously vanished from the secured criminal court files, and were withheld from the Court of Criminal Appeals, also didn't match Weirich's wife-beater theory, just like the Vern and Sheila letters that Weirich withheld from everyone for almost 10 years. One of the character letters that vanished also mentioned how just 3 days prior to her death, Sheila told the author that she was so happy when she went to go get her wedding rings resized. The mysterious disappearance of the character letters and some of the sentencing records from Braswell's court records made it extremely difficult for Vern to challenge his sentence on appeal. Therefore, when the evidence vanished, it benefited the prosecution. Was this a coincidence? We don't think so. The family says when the character letters resurfaced after 15 years, they also received allegations that police and prosecutors received evidence of Vern's innocence from witnesses which would have been helpful to him during trial, but that this evidence was disregarded and destroyed. In 2011 a sealed envelope of withheld evidence and documents, from the Braswell case with Amy Weirich's initials on it, was discovered in the offices of the Shelby County prosecutors. When the prosecutors were asked to produce the contents inside the envelope, one of the prosecutors said he was scared to show Braswell's lawyer the evidence in the envelope. It disappeared, and every prosecutor that had possession of the Braswell files containing the envelope, claimed that they didn't see the contents of the envelope, that they didn't know where the envelope went, and that they never saw the envelope again. Despite having her initials on the sealed envelope of withheld evidence and documents, Amy Weirich testified that she could not recall the envelope, and labeled its existence a conspiracy theory during a news interview following her testimony. The family says if you can put 2 and 2 together, Then you can easily figure out what happened to all of the evidence of Vern's innocence that went missing during his murder trial and his appeals.